Welcome back to Morgan's video blog, Morgan's online blog in video format. Today I'm back with Writing Anthology. The titular panel was the fourth of the Imaginarium 2021 panels that I was able to attend. The panelists were Jen Selensky, Robert Krog, Brick Marley, Molly Daniels, and the moderator was Drew Gaber. The panel description was direct and to the point. A discussion on tips, steps, and guidelines to follow when writing for anthology. So let's get to them. Hi. So these are tips for all of you out there, those already submitting short stories, writers thinking of exploring new genres, or those of you just contemplating getting into that whole writing thing. But beware, for some of us, we find it easier to write a whole novel than to write a short story. The biggest takeaway when writing for anthologies is to know that the editors are looking for a lot of variety, and that it's often easier to sell if you can write the story for the story call, because finding the right market for a story you've already written can be quite a challenge. So let's start with the big question. How should one pace a short story? Pacing is very different for short stories than it is for novels, obviously. While some novels have chapters that can read like short stories, those often tend to be episodic stories at best. The greatest challenge for short story writers is to edit and trim without losing their voice. So how do we pace these short stories? First, they need to be fast and brief, obviously. They need to focus on one particular plot point, one point of view, and characterization should be done as concisely as possible without letting the story suffer. And finally, the story needs to end with a punch. If there isn't an ending, you've written a chapter of a longer work, not a short story. So how do you get this? Do short stories need to be plotted? The eternal question. Which is better, plotting or pantsing, i.e. writing by the seat of your pants, or discovery writing? Sadly, there is no definitive answer. It depends, as always, on the writer and the story. So do note that being brief is a skill, and cutting stories to be short without losing voice is another skill. So let's talk about what these editors are doing. What is the preferred flow for an anthology? Well, different types of anthologies work in different ways, but most of them follow similar formats. While some more historical or time-jumping anthologies may simply end up being in chronological order, others, especially if it's an anthology put together by a writing group, may simply just rotate the order through for all the members. But for a large majority of them, you'll find that they put the strongest story first, and the last story is the second strongest, with the ones in between rotating between quieter stories and more action intense stories. We're not saying weaker and stronger, we're saying some stories are very action heavy and some are more introspective. Like creating a good music album, the balance between rise and fall helps each story shine to its greatest potential. So why do readers even bother with anthologies? Well, for many reasons, but short stories are easier to fit into a busy day. Variety, the pacing of short stories, maybe they just enjoy fewer tangents and pithier stories, and it encourages new writers. So, if you're writing one, where do you find a market? Well, you should check out Ralan, RALAN.com, or thegrinder.diabolicalplots.com. Both of them can help you find markets. One final tip I've taken note of last time I talked about anthologies. If you're writing to the anthology description, never go with your first thought. It's often what everyone else is going to write. Go with your third or fourth idea, and good luck. Thank you for watching, and I'll be back again next week with more writing tips and writerly musings. Bye-bye.